That, my friends, is a news bee. Okay? They won't stink. Look, it's reading the Bible. Look. That is a news bee. Did you know that, Chill? They come around you and they hang out. They'll hang out around you, catch you from all these different angles.
Got a hidden camera in it?
Yeah. Might be a Chinese drone. All right, that's your... Oh, hey, what's up, guys? We're here at the wet loop today on a little public fishing area in North Georgia. I call this the wet loop because it's usually wet. Usually you're gonna get your feet wet. Hopefully it'll be dry today. You can actually tie this in with the dry loop and make the birthday loop. Yeah. That's right. Welcome. The run today is brought to you by our partner at Phorm. You can check them out at firstphorm.com. This is one of my favorite little snacks right here to eat during my long runs. I ate one yesterday, did 11.5 miles. You know what I love about this? It tastes good, sticks to your ribs, keeps you going. It's got 280 calories per serving, but what I love most about it is the ingredients. Peanut butter, protein blend, which is grass-fed whey protein isolate, milk protein isolate, dates, honey, chocolate chips, gluten-free oats, coconut oil, egg whites, and sea salt. I can actually understand what those ingredients are. I like that. Everything First Phorm makes is top-notch. Amazing people, amazing company, an awesome partner here at 307 Project. So if you get anything out of the channel, go check them out at firstphorm.com. Thanks, First Phorm, for bringing this run to the people this morning. What we're going to talk about on our run today is what I've heard. Actually, I heard Paul Washer call this the divine dilemma. It's always been interesting to me how unbelievers they really begin to hate God when they you know, in their mind they think, who is this God that sends men to hell? They hate God because he sends men to hell in their minds, right? And it's interesting to me because you would think that they would hate God equally for forgiving wicked men for the wickedness that they are guilty of. You get what I'm saying? It's always been interesting to me to think about that. The divine dilemma is, how does the Father forgive wicked men for their wickedness? How does he justify wicked men and maintain his character as a just and righteous being? Totally just and totally righteous. How can you forgive someone for a crime they're guilty of? That's not fair. Somebody ought to pay the price for the crime that has been committed. Justice. That's what we're talking about here today. So we find a wonderful explanation that helps us understand this divine dilemma. How does God forgive wicked men yet maintain his character as a just God? And it's in Romans chapter 3. Now in Romans chapter 3, starting in verse 21, this is a very powerful portion of the scriptures. And there's so much contained in here that this has been called by many men the Acropolis of our faith. Here's what we're going to look at. This is all talking about justification by faith through God's grace. But right here is where he gets in to solving this divine dilemma. So it's talking about Jesus Christ, whom God displayed publicly as a propitiation in his blood through faith. This was to demonstrate his righteousness. In other words, Jesus on the cross was a demonstration of the Father's maintaining his righteousness. Because in the forbearance of God, he passed over the sins previously committed for the demonstration, I say, of his righteousness at the present time, so that he would be just, he would maintain his justice and be the justifier of the one who has faith in Jesus. This, the cross, Jesus, is how the Father has maintained his just nature, but he is also able to be the justifier of us, wicked men who have faith in Jesus. You understand how this works? Someone had to pay the price for our wickedness. Someone had to pay the price. Y'all know when Jesus was in the Garden of Gethsemane, the night before he was taken captive and ultimately crucified, y'all remember when he said, if it's possible, let this cup pass from me. What was in the cup? In the cup was the wrath of God that we deserved. That wrath had to be poured out. Somebody had to pay for the sins of man. Jesus went to the cross. That cup of wrath was poured out upon him by the Father so that he could maintain his nature as a just God and also justify us wicked men. That solves the divine dilemma. It's a big question. You guys should read this and ponder this and seek the Holy Spirit in helping you understand this so that you can answer this question and give a defense for this faith that you have to unbelievers who are going to, at some point, ask you this. It's no wonder why unbelievers, the more they learn about who God is, the more they will hate him. It's no wonder, because of stuff like this. They don't understand what happened on the cross and why that was so important and how that was a demonstration of the Father's righteousness and how we're able to be forgiven. Romans chapter 3. Go on and read it. There's a lot more in there than just that. But that's a real point right there that you ought to seek understanding in. Oh, dry loop.
Wet loop.
Wet loop. Done. Enough said.